Update. My sister Beth made up a dead twin brother to her spouse and in-laws. I accidentally outed the lie, but why am I the bad guy here? Original post. Backstory. I'm the eldest of 4 sisters. We're stair-stepped, 2 years apart. I'm 38, Joe is 36, Beth is 34, and Amy is 32. Fake names. Our parents used to joke about how they kept trying for a boy, but finally gave up after girl number 4. Not gonna lie, it hurt our feelings a little, especially Amy, but they stopped that and assured us they wouldn't change anything. Every one of us has at least one daughter. I am the only sister that has a son. At 17, he's the eldest grandchild, and I'm fairly certain he's my dad's favorite person in the world. They are best friends. It's adorable. Okay, now that you have the backstory, let's talk about tonight. My son, who is very intelligent and absolutely crushed high school, recently received his acceptance letter to a pretty prestigious university. Full ride. We are incredibly proud. My folks wanted to throw him a little congratulatory party, and tonight worked for all of our schedules, which is no small feat, 4 different families with 11 kids between them. So we all headed to the folks' house for pizza and cake. At one point, Amy brought up that it is Sibling Appreciation Day, and Mom said she wanted all of her girls to say what we appreciate about our sisters, and we go youngest to eldest, with most of the compliments going to me, as I was kind of a second mom to them. I told each of my sisters how much I loved them, among other things, and then finished my speech off saying something like, "And I really appreciate that we didn't have any gross boys stinking up our house." All of us but Beth and her husband laughed. Beth's eyes got really big, and her husband, Chase, looked at me like I was something he scraped off the bottom of his shoe. Suddenly, he says, "That's pretty messed up." I said something like, "I don't know, Chase. I've smelled you after your workouts. It's pretty bad." And he got even more mad and said, "How could you talk about Tyler like that?" And Beth starts losing her mind, guys. She's grabbing him by the arm and begging him to hush, saying they need to go home now, etc. So naturally, I'm like, who is Tyler? Well, friends, apparently Tyler is Beth's twin that died during childbirth. And it made our folks and me so depressed that nobody is allowed to speak of him or reference him, ever. Beth forbade him from ever mentioning it to any family member. After Chase told us this, nobody said a word. It was so damn tense. Finally, I just kind of bluntly said, "I'm not sure why, but Beth lied to you about this. I think you guys should talk about it, but I don't want to hear anything else about this tonight, as we're here to celebrate my son." After that, Beth burst into tears and ran into her old bedroom, with Chase, Mom, and Joe following her. The party never fully recovered, and they took off pretty shortly after that. I stayed behind to help clean, so my dad and son could hang some more. While I'm doing the dishes, my mom scolded me pretty harshly about calling Beth a liar. If the baby shoe fits, mother. My dad said I wasn't wrong, but I embarrassed Beth. What the heck was I supposed to do? I was getting chastised over a lie. Absolutely not. Beth also texted me that I screwed her over, and a text from Chase's phone told me I was the actual liar's sister, and everyone knows that. Amy is on my side, but she and Beth always butted heads. Joe claims she's neutral, but she also told me I didn't have to call her out like that. What the heck else was I supposed to do? Just take the lashing? And why is everyone acting like me calling out what I consider to be a pretty heavy lie is worse than the lie itself? How do we resolve this situation? I love my sisters so damn much. They are my best friends. But this is so weird and so wrong to put on me. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I can't imagine any other response. I really can't. Were you seriously expected to lie along with her? I think that is shocking. I have no idea what she was expecting. I have lied for her before, but saying she's at my house while she's really getting boudoir photos done for him is not the same as lying about a whole person who never existed. It's beyond bizarre. Has she ever told other wild stories? What benefit could she have gotten from the lie? We all lied as kids, age-appropriate stuff. She was more rebellious than the rest of us, though. She'd sneak cigarettes and smoke them out of the window in her room, climb out the window and meet dates, then sneak back in the house. But nothing awful. I'm kind of impressed that after all of that, she managed to convince her husband that you were the liar. Of course, if he still believes her, he's dumb as a brick. I'd think there is proof enough on her birth certificate, as it will state she was a single birth. I will say Chase is not a dummy, and he's typically not malicious. And although nobody really backed me up about this being a lie, at least not in front of me, I think it's pretty obvious that I was telling the truth, as everyone else was obviously confused and dead silent in the moment. I have not responded to the texts, as I'm not looking to burn bridges. I've made many mistakes, and my sisters have graciously forgiven me. I'm just baffled and a little hurt. Now for the first update. Okay, I think we have some answers about the events that occurred last night. I do want to tell everyone who took time to give advice or kind words, thank you. I honestly couldn't read everything. I was, and am exhausted. But I did get an idea of how I wanted to approach everything, thanks to the advice given. I'll get to the update in a few. I just wanted to answer some frequently asked questions and comments real quick. 1. Beth is continuing to lie and Chase is believing it, and your mom and Joe threw you under the bus too. Chase, I think he knew I was being truthful. Also, I said the text came from his phone. I was actually thinking Beth sent it, as that's not Chase's vibe. About mom and Joe, they didn't throw me under the bus. But I'll go into more detail soon. 2. Is it possible my mom had twins and I just forgot or didn't know about the death? Absolutely not. I was at all of my sisters' births. I don't remember Joe's, but I do remember Beth and Amy's. And there were no multiples, no deaths, no funerals, no depression. 3. The birth certificate will prove it. It sure would, yes. But I'm not about to try to strong-arm my sister into showing her husband her birth certificate. 4. Your sister is mentally ill, also the golden child, and you're the scapegoat. I'm not about to say my sister is sick, but I do think she has some issues, as we all do. There's no golden child and scapegoat in this family. My parents were and are really good about treating all of us fairly and equally. 5. You could have or should have been more tactful, pulled her aside and not called her a liar. Had I known that Tyler was my dead brother, I never would have asked who he was. Chase and I tease each other a lot, and I honestly thought he was about to come out with some kind of funny joke, a la D's nuts. About my lack of tact? I don't know. I think it's pretty lacking in tact to make up a whole dead sibling. And really, facts are facts. She lied, and that's that. The night was about my son, so I squashed the issue and chose to move forward, hoping to end the conversation with as little drama as possible. Okay, so now up to the update. After a night of barely sleeping and my blood pressure dangerously high, I called my mom this morning fully ready to let out an emotionally charged tirade about how I feel they unfairly threw me under the bus and took Beth's side when she objectively did the worst thing. My mom answered the phone apologizing and asked me to just listen. When she and Joe followed Beth and Chase to Beth's room, Mom did tell Chase that Tyler was not real and this is an issue between her and Chase, and they should probably leave because she didn't want the evening ruined. She did get on to me, but it was mostly out of sympathy and empathy for Beth, and she recognized it wasn't okay. She apologized for that. She spoke with Chase this morning, and Beth, who is the one who sent me the text from Chase's phone, finally came clean early this morning, after hours of denying the lie. Something I didn't mention, as I didn't feel it was pertinent to the story, is Beth's eldest daughter isn't Chase's biological daughter. He's been around since she was 2. Also kind of pertinent is that Chase is a first responder. He loves to be a hero, and he's very good in that role. He met Beth doing victims advocacy. And as such, I believe they both view him as saving Beth. This has long been speculated, but it's not exactly our place to say anything. And we all love Chase. He is an amazing person. And Beth is no dummy. She picked up on Chase's hero complex immediately. It appears that, in an effort to make herself look more sympathetic, vulnerable, broken, she lied about having a twin brother that died in childbirth. I guess being in an abusive relationship and having a small child just wasn't enough? She did not have to do that. They've been together 10 years now and not once did she come clean. To me, that proves a clear pattern of deceit and manipulation. However, I'm not going to speculate on her mental health problems or reasonings for not coming clean. That is for her and her husband to deal with. Neither one of them has called or texted me to apologize, and I'm honestly unsure if they will. Beth is more of the rug-sweeping type, while I'm a confront issues head-on type. I will not be cutting my sister off for this, though. I love her, and at the end of the day, I just want her to be happy and healthy. I do hope that this whole issue will cause her to rethink some of her life choices and maybe she can get some therapy. I think we could all use therapy, to be honest. That's where we are right now. My mom did not offer any information about how Beth and Chase are doing, and I did not ask. It's not my business. I have not heard from Joe, but Amy and I have been texting all morning, and she is being my best good friend right now and providing a lot of support. Hopefully, we can all move forward and grow together in the future. Thanks again for the support you all have sent my way. I am glad your mother apologized, but your sister really owes you and the entire family an apology. This was a really selfish and weird thing to do. She also owes Chase and his family an apology. I hope she gets some help for this. Good luck. I am glad that her mother offered an apology, but in my opinion, OP's mother really should do something to properly make up for what she did. It's one thing to take a side, it's another to berate someone in an emotionally tense situation. That's where that little pit of resentment comes from. But that's just my opinion, and I'm some rando on Reddit. Well, this is why she continues to do this nonsense at her big age. No one holds her accountable. You can't move forward and grow together if people don't take accountability. Your entire family enables her in the worst way. I can't disagree with that. It's not healthy or helpful to rug sweep this issue, right, OP? I say that with love, because sometimes it's hard to see our own behavior and how it affects others. You certainly didn't cause it, but not holding her accountable will send the wrong message. She will never understand why this is so wrong and hurtful. Now for the last update 6 months later. Well, a lot has happened in the past months. I read all your comments, multiple times, and I heard you. I faced some very hard truths about my family and our dynamics, but mostly I grieved. About a month after I made my original post, my dad passed away. It was very unexpected, massive stroke. The worst part was Mom was out of town, so my dad died alone. My son talked to him that same day. They made plans for the next week, and then my dad was gone. It's been a very hard few months. I started therapy mostly to deal with navigating life without Dad, but my therapist made a lot of good points about our family dynamic. Mostly that I was parentified and a people pleaser. That keeping the peace comes at a price, and that price was my needs being put on the back burner. And as a result, I keep people at arm's length because of this, and I'll be damned if she wasn't right. So let's rewind a little. During the week or so after Dad died, Mom was lost. They'd been married over 40 years, so no surprise there. And as the eldest sibling, I stepped up big time. Joe and I already knew a little about our parents' end-of-life wishes, and we chose to go forward with cremation. Mom agreed. This is her wish as well, as did Amy. Guess who didn't? If you guessed Beth, you'd be right. She just had a complete meltdown, wailing over how she couldn't stand the thought and would not allow it, and blah blah blah. This is probably the first instance of me shutting her ass down. I told her, in no uncertain terms, that this wasn't her choice. It was our father's preference, and it was happening regardless. Next, she was wandering through the house, trying to pick out things she wanted, before Mom had even given us her blessing. When she started, Mom asked her to please stop, let her sort some stuff first, and then she would give a yes or no. When Beth asked what she needed to sort out, Mom mentioned Dad's watch collection. There was one specifically for my son, and when Beth inquired as to which one, Mom refused to answer. Beth insisted that wasn't fair, that she should have first pick blah blah blah. Mom and Joe apparently shut that down with a quickness. I wasn't there, but my son is now wearing the first luxury watch my dad ever bought, and he is so proud. Don't worry though, all the grands have something special. Next, she got absolutely plastered at his end-of-life ceremony, went around wailing and making literally the whole thing about her grief, and how her wishes weren't respected, and before I could snap, and believe me, I was this close, Chase dragged her out of the venue. I'm not sure what happened, but when they got home, police were called, Beth was arrested, and my niece ended up with my mom for the night. My brother-in-law did have some bruises to back him up. Despite Beth calling us, nobody bailed her out. We are just done with it. She did get released on her own recognizance, and only ended up with some community service and a fine. Chase was more than willing to do therapy with her, but she started drinking even more, and as a result is being more aggressive with both him and the kids. There was another situation, and long story short, Chase is divorcing her and petitioning for full custody. He has asked us to write letters on his behalf, and I believe all of us are going to do so. I don't know what is going on with my sister, but she is on a downward spiral and it's so sad to see. She refuses to speak with anyone, and I'm just done trying. I'd already decided to cut her off after the BS at Dad's end-of-life ceremony, but this solidified it. I won't be updating again. I'm washing my hands of all of this. I hope my sister gets help, but it'll take a lot of work, and she's never been one to want to put in the work. I'm putting myself first for once and concentrating on my children, my husband, and myself. Thanks for listening to me vent. Y'all are almost as good as therapy. Last story. I think my friend is making her child sick on purpose. I'm 17 and my friend, who I'll call Mary, is 18. She has a 4-year-old daughter, who I'll call Lily. Mary had her baby at 14. I have nothing against teen parents, but there are a bunch of weird things Mary does that make me suspicious. First, Lily is always sick. She seems to always have a fever or be throwing up. Mary claims Lily has heart and breathing problems, and she hospitalizes Lily all the time. Every single time they're discharged, 4 or 5 days later, Lily is sick again but with something different. I also see Mary give Lily a lot of medication, and she had Lily fitted with a feeding tube. When Lily seems to be getting sicker, Mary stays very calm. Not very concerned, just calm. It's obvious Mary loves Lily. She's very attentive and is a good parent in many ways, but she constantly complains about how sick Lily is and how they're just trying to get an answer. That behavior makes me uneasy. Another reason I'm worried is that when Lily gets sick, she runs to Mary for comfort, and Mary seems to get a lot of attention from that. What really set off alarm bells for me was when Mary said she wanted to start a TikTok page with Lily, posting about how sick she is and about how many views she'd get for being a teen mom with a sick child. I don't know if I'm overreacting or if these are real pieces of a puzzle, but I wanted to get this off my chest. If you truly believe she's harming her child for likes, call CPS. If you just think she's an annoying attention whore, then stop hanging out with her. Munchausen syndrome by proxy comes to mind. My grandmother suffered from this, and it ruined my entire life when she attempted to steal custody of me from my mom and then gave me a lifelong eating disorder I'm still trying to fight past. Be careful with CPS, though. The Gypsy Rose case has made people overreact about Munchausen. Everyone needs to watch Take Care of Maya. Hospital staff called CPS because they believed a mother had Munchausen. They ended up taking her daughter away from her, and she was so distraught over it she took her own life. It was proven that the little girl was actually sick, so just be absolutely sure before calling CPS.